Senate will come to order and Secretary will call the roll.
Bear, Bayer, Bach, Brackett, Buckner-Webb, Cameron, Davis, Durst, Fulcher, Getty, Guthrie, Hagedorn, Hyder, Hill, Johnson, Keogh, Lacey, Lakey, Lodge, Martin, McKenzie, Mortimer, Nonini, Nuxel, Patrick, Pierce, Rice, Schmidt, Sidaway, Stennett, Thane, Tippett, Fick, Work, Winder, Bayer, Fulcher, Hill, Pierce,
Roll call shows 33 present, 2 absent excused. Quorum being present, Senate is in order. Senate will advance its second order of business. Prayer by Chaplain James Weberding and Pledge of Allegiance. We'd ask our friends in the gallery to rise and join us in prayer.
Just briefly before I pray, I would like to cite from the Idaho State Constitution. It begins with the words, "We, the people of the state of Idaho, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom, to secure its blessings, and to promote our common welfare, do establish this Constitution." This has been your mandate during this session, and it continues to be for as long as you are senators or citizens of Idaho or citizens of the United States of America or inhabitants of this planet. And so as you've made your contribution during this session and continue to do so, I will pray for your contribution to that legacy. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, these senators have made a profound contribution to the legacy of freedom. In some ways, it's like that legacy is like the great torrent of the Snake River coming over the Shoshone Falls. It's almost an unstoppable force. And contributing to that legacy is in some ways like standing at the base of that torrent and pouring a small bucket of water into the stream. But it is those small contributions upstream that made the river. And so as our senators and our Senate staff, for at least one more day during this session, contribute to that legacy, I pray that you will take what they contribute and bless it for those who are downstream. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. We'll now be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by our page, Kyra Perrin. Kyra.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Senate will advance third order business, reading corrections to journal.
April 4th, 2013. The Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that the Senate Journal of the proceedings of April 3rd, 2013 was read and approved as corrected. Lodge Chairman.
Be filed in the office of Secretary. Senator Fulcher will be recognized present at this order of business. Senator Davis.
Good morning, Mr. President, on what I hope is the last day of this session. We do have to start and stop just a little bit right now, and we need to be sensitive to the House schedule as well and kind of fold in their efforts throughout the day. But we intend right now to grab the work that we do have and to work on it, which includes Senate Bill 1200 and also House Bill 319, and then await for the work to come to us from the body across the rotunda. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to send advance to the 11th order of business.
Objections, send advance to the 11th order of business. Introduction of bills. Senate's at the 11th order of business. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that all bills on first reading be read by number, author, and title only in the journal show. They've been read at length.
Without objection, so ordered.
In the Senate, Senate Bill number 1200 by Finance Committee, an act relating to public schools, stating fund sources for the appropriation to the Public Schools Educational Support Program for fiscal year 2014.
Senate Bill 1200 will be referred to the Judiciary and Rules Committee for printing.
There is no further business in the 11th order, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent Senate return to the 6th order of business.
Objections, Senate return to the 6th order of business. Report to Standing Committee. Senate's at the 6th order of business.
April 4th, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that Senate Bill 1200 has been correctly printed. Lodge Chairman.
Senate Bill 1200 will be referred to the Finance Committee.
April 4th, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that Senate Bill 1192 is amended and Senate Bill 1134 as amended in the House, have been correctly enrolled. Lodge Chairman.
The President has signed Senate Bill 1192 as amended and Senate Bill 1134 as amended in the House, and they will be referred, or they will be transmitted to the House for the signature of the Speaker.
April 3rd, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that enrolled Senate concurrent resolutions 124, 120, 114, 115, 112, 117, 118, 119, 125, 126, 121, 122, and Senate Concurrent Resolution 127 were delivered to the Office of the Secretary of State at 2:13 p.m. March 29, 2013. Lodge Chairman.
Report will be filed in the Office of the Secretary.
April 3rd, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that enrolled Senate Bill 1126, 1127, 1135, 1145, 1109 as amended, 1119, 1136, 1165, 1155, 1072 as amended in the House, 1116 as amended in the House, 1179, and 1080 as amended in the House were delivered to the Office of the Governor at 1:55 p.m. March 29, 2013. Lodge Chairman.
Report will be filed in the Office of the Secretary.
April 3rd, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that enrolled Senate Bills 1156, 1147 as amended, 1149, 1172, 1173, 1174, 1175, 1176, 1177, 1178, 1180, 1181, 1182, 1186, 1157, 1187, 1188, 1150, 1191, 1158, and Senate Bill 1183 were delivered to the Office of the Governor at 11:55 a.m. April 3rd, 2013. Lodge Chairman.
The report will be filed in the Office of the Secretary.
April 3rd, 2013, the Finance Committee reports out Senate Bill 1200 and recommend that it do pass. Cameron, Chairman.
House Bill 1200 will be referred to the 12th order of business, second reading.
There is no further business in the sixth order, Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate advance to the 8th order of business.
Without objection, the Senate advance to the 8th order of business. Messages from the House. Senate's at the 8th order of business.
April 3rd, 2013, the Honorable Brad Little, President of the Senate. Dear Mr. President, I have the honor to advise you that I have signed today and am transmitting to the Secretary of State the following Senate bill to wit, Senate Bill 1060. As always, Idaho, C.L. Butch Otter, Governor of Idaho.
Correspondence will be filed in the Office of the Secretary.
There is no further business in the 8th order, Mr. President.
Advance to the 9th order of business. Messages from the House. Senate's at the 9th order of business.
April 3rd, 2013. Mr. President, I return here with Senate Bill 1197 and Senate Bill 1199, which have passed the House. Alexander, Chief Clerk.
Senate Bills 1197, 1199 refer to the Judiciary and Rules Committee for enrollment.
April 3rd, 2013. Mr. President, I transmit herewith enrolled House Concurrent Resolution 21, 22, 34, 33, 31, House Bills 322, 133, 327, 328, 231 is amended, 245, 332, 333, 334, 335, 317, and House Bill 324 for the signature of the President. Alexander, Chief Clerk.
The President has signed House Concurrent Resolutions number 21, 22, 34, 33, and 31, and House Bills 322, 133, 327, 328, 231 is amended, 245, 332, 333, 334, 335, 317, and 324, and they will be returned to the House.
April 3rd, 2013. Mr. President, I return herewith Senate Bill 1189, 1190, Senate Concurrent Resolution 128, 129, and Senate Concurrent Resolution 131, which have been signed by the Speaker. Alexander, Chief Clerk.
Senate Bills 1189 and 1190 will be referred to Judiciary and Rules Committee for transmittal to the Governor. Senate Concurrent Resolution 128 and 129 and 131 will be referred to the Judiciary and Rules Committee for transmittal to the Secretary of State.
There is no further business in the ninth order, Mr. President.
The Senate.
My apologies, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to send advance to the 12th order of business.
Without objection, Senate advances to 12th order of business. Second reading of the bill. Senate's at the 12th order of business. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, is Senate Bill 1200 in this order of business?
It is, Mr. Senator.
Thank you. Mr. President, I move that all rules of the Senate interfering with the immediate consideration of Senate Bill 1200 be suspended.
Senator's Tennant.
Mr. President, second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that all rules of the Senate dealing with immediate consideration of Senate Bill 1200 be suspended. The Secretary will call the roll.
Bear. Bayer. Bach. Brackett. Buckner-Webb. Cameron. Davis. Durst. Fulcher. Getty. Guthrie. Hagedorn. Hyder. Hill. Johnson. Keough. Lacey. Lakey. Lodge. Martin. McKenzie. Mortimer. Nonini. Nuxel. Patrick. Pierce. Rice. Schmidt. Sidaway. Stennett. Thane. Tippett. Fick. Work. Winder. Pierce.
Roll call shows 33 ayes, 1 nay, 1 absent, excused, 2/3 having voted in the affirmative. All rules of the Senate dealing with immediate consideration of Senate Bill 1200 have been suspended. Senate now, let's see, are we in 12? Senate now has for final consideration Senate Bill 1200. The Secretary will read the bill.
In the Senate, Senate Bill number 1200 by Finance Committee, an act relating to public schools, stating fund sources for the appropriation to the public...
Mr. President.
Senator Cameron.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that further reading of Senate Bill 1200 be dispensed with, and Journal show it's been read at length, section by section, and is now properly before the Senate for final consideration.
Hearing no objection, Senator Cameron is recognized to open debate.
Mr. President, under Rule 39H of the Senate, I'd like to disclose I may have a possible conflict. My wife is employed as a teacher's aide at Minnetonka School District, and my office does some business, although I am not directly compensated from it with the school
It will be recorded
district.
in the Journal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and Senators, this is the fiscal year 2014 budget for the public schools. It is in the amount of $1,308,000,000 and is a 2.2% increase in general funds and a 2% overall increase in funds. It includes money for 91 additional support units, 58 of which were existing in the base, and 33 additional support units. It moves beginning teacher pay from $30,500 to $31,000. It increases the discretionary dollars by 1.5% to a total of $20,000 per support unit. It unfreezes the grid, the 2 years of experience. It increases technology from $10,400,000 and adds an additional $3 million in technology pilot projects as per Senate Bill 1199. Mr. President, it has $33.9 million of one-time money allocated as $21 million in professional development and achievement awards as per Senate Bill 1199 and $13.4 million in technology. Mr. President, with that, debate is open.
Further debate? Hearing no further debate, Senator Guthrie.
You were pretty quick with the close there, Mr. President. Thank you.
I am indeed.
Thank
Just a
you.
notice to the rest of the Senate.
And I appreciate a couple of minutes. You know, a few days ago, the senator from 33 stood and said, you know, Mr. President, I don't think 60 seconds is long enough to explain my vote. That's the boat I find myself in, and I understand that on the last day of the session, I don't want to risk the wrath of your gavel. So, you know, when there's an 18-17 or 17-18 vote, a couple things come to mind. The president doesn't have to or doesn't get to vote, depending on how passionate he is about the issue. So last week when the other bill went down, 17-18, you know, there was an opportunity for people to say to those of us that voted against, if you'd have just switched your vote, we could have went home. But I can tell you that for me, that did not and has not happened, and I think it's a reflection of the level of respect that's in this chamber. You know, I don't remember how the good senator from 33 voted on that particular issue. I just know that he voted what was correct for him, his philosophy, and those he represents, and I think that's all any of us can hope to do. You know, the neat thing, and it's been proven time again for me this year, that as colleagues and as friends, we can respectfully disagree, and those relationships and those friendships sustain, and that's important. And that's been humbling to be a part of a body that appreciates the process and has the level of respect for one another that we do over here. And I'm grateful for the example that you have all been to me. I don't know how many of you have played this game, but when I was little, the older kids would sit on the younger kids and hold their hands and take the points of their fingers and peck their chest and crow pecks or whatever. And the idea was that you could get them into submission, get them to say uncle. And depending on how old you are, you might be on the giving or the receiving end of this game. And I'll tell you, this is one of the situations where it was a lot more fun to give than it was to receive. And the object was to hear those words of submission, hear them say uncle. But, you know, you had to be careful and make sure they really meant it, because if they were just tricking you and you let them up, then they would take after you. And that was the tricky part, making sure they'd had enough. You know, we all like flexibility as we make decisions. And I've talked with enough school board members and superintendents. I'm convinced that the money that schools receive for discretionary spending has reached a critical point, and they're yelling uncle. Now, we don't have to look much further than the amount of supplemental levies that have been passed to recognize that to a certain extent citizens are crying uncle as well. And while I was among those that did not support House Bill 323, I plan to support Senate Bill 1200. And, you know, I say that recognizing there's little difference in the two budgets, and my concern over the lack of discretionary spending is largely meant, you know, not been addressed. But I also recognize that, you know, the amount of pecking wasn't sufficient to hear uncle. But that's okay, because there's a lot of effort and hard work and progress that's been made. And I believe the stage has been set for more productive discussions along those lines next year and about education issues in general. So at the end of the day, I believe the few extra days will yield benefits beyond what's reflected in the differences in the two bills. So to everyone that's worked so hard, and I know a lot worked over the weekend and put a lot of effort into this, I certainly appreciate your diligence. Thank you, Mr. President, Senators.
Further debate? Hearing no further debate, Senator Cameron's recognized to close debate.
First, let me thank the good senator from 28, I think is his number, and for his wise comments. It's hard to tell who has taken the largest thumping on the chest or not. You know, this is a modest budget. It's not a perfect budget. It's a modest increase of 2.2%. It's still $110 million, or 4.4% below where we were in 2009. It's an interim budget in a post-referendum world as we await the recommendations from the task force. This is certainly not a perfect budget. There are many things in this budget that if it were just my budget, I would do differently myself. I acknowledge that there ought to be more money in discretionary funds, and I look forward to working towards that end. I'd like to see more money in technology, and frankly, I'd like to see a much higher number. But this is the best possible budget for this year, given our situation. This is a budget that's headed in the right direction. You know, if someone would have said to me at the beginning of the session that we would have a balanced, bipartisan budget that was supported by the Superintendent of Public Instruction, the Idaho School Boards Association, the Idaho Association of School Administrators, and the Idaho Education Association, I wouldn't have believed them, given where we had been at the election. But that's exactly what we have here today. It's not a perfect budget, but it is a collaborative budget. And I must commend those groups who put hard, strong, personal feelings aside to collaborate together to do what's best for our schools, our teachers, and our children. You know, that's been one of the toughest part of this session, is trying to advance the ball, waiting for the outcome of the task force as I said, in a post-referendum world. When it comes to public schools and the public schools budget, I believe our constituents say to us as elected officials that they want the best possible budget within our means that advances and assists our schools and our teachers in allowing our children the best opportunity for success. I believe this budget hits that mark. I'd urge your aye vote. Debate's closed.
Meeting closed. Question is, shall Senate Bill 1200 pass? Senate Secretary will call the roll.
Bear, Bayer, Bach, Brackett, Buckner-Webb, Cameron, Davis, Durst, Fulcher, Getty, Guthrie, Hagedorn, Hyder, Hill, Johnson, Keough, Lacey, Lakey, Lodge, Martin, McKenzie, Mortimer, Nonini,
60 seconds, Mr. President.
60 seconds, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, you know, I voted no on every appropriation bill as my way of trying to make, I guess, my little point of the increased costs of benefits. And I believe they're unsustainable. And again, we kick that can down the road. And I look at this budget and see a benefit cost increase of over $7.2 million. And then I look at an increase in minimum teacher salary of $2.9 million. I think our priorities aren't in order. I think we need to address this in the near future. Senator will be voting no.
Senator Nini will be recorded as voting no.
Nuxel, Patrick,
60 seconds, please.
60 seconds, Senator.
Mr. President, I will be voting aye. However, I still have an issue with the discretionary funds, and hopefully in the future we can stop the epidemic of the overrides or the supplementals in our schools by increasing supplemental funds. Thank you. Officially aye.
Senator Patrick will be recorded as voting aye.
Pierce, Rice, Schmidt, Sidaway, Stennett, Thane, Tippett, Fick, Work, Winder, Bayer, Davis, Durst, Getty,
Mr. President.
Senator Getty, 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I intend to vote aye on this bill. I still think we have problems with one-time money, but that will be the decision of the gentleman on the second floor. I also would like to see more money in discretionary and really addressing the operating expenses that districts have. But that's a topic for discussion on another day in another year.
Senator Getty will be recorded as voting aye.
Hill, Pierce, Work,
Roll call shows 29 ayes, 5 nays, 1 absent, excused. Majority having voted in the affirmative. Senate Bill 1200 passed the Senate with the corrections. Title, hearing none, the title is approved. Senate Bill 1200 will be transmitted to the House.
There is no further business in the 12th order, Mr. President.
Senate will advance to 13th order of business, third reading of bills. Senate's at the 13th order of business and has for final consideration House Bill 319. The Secretary will read the bill.
In the House of Representatives, House Bill Number 319 by Education Committee, an act relating to education to establish provisions relating to the expenditure of certain monies for a certain time period, to establish provisions relating to the determination of a certain amount, and to provide that school districts shall provide certain information.
Mr. President.
Senator Mortimer.
Mr. President, I would ask unanimous consent that further reading of House Bill 319 be dispensed with in the Journal show. It has been read section by section and placed before the Senate for final consideration.
Hearing no objections, Senator Mortimer is recognized to open debate.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, we have been waiting for many days to pass this bill, and we needed the K-12 budget bill to pass in order to know exactly how this bill would fit in, and it fits. And let me just tell you a little bit how it fits. House Bill 319 deals with the state's requirement that local school districts put a certain amount of money towards maintaining schools' maintenance during each year. This legislation, first brought in fiscal year 2010, absolved school districts, or I should say, local school districts, of their match requirement if they had no plant facilities levy that acted as a source of matching funds, and if they had no school safety issues based on their most recent annual building inspection. If these two standards were met, districts could shift these funds to other one-time, non-personnel costs. This legislation is identical to the legislation that we've done for the last 4 years, with one exception, and that is it excludes the flexibility on 2/3 of the local maintenance match. And if you were looking at the K-12 budget, instead of the normal full $17 million, the budget was 1/3 of that. And the state matched 1/3. The local districts, therefore, are relieved of their 2/3 requirement. And that's all that this does. Mr. President, debate is open.
Further debate? Hearing no further debate, Senator Mortimer is recognized to close debate.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I hope for the last time, thank you again. Debate is closed.
Debate being closed, the question is, so House Bill 319 passed the Senate. The Secretary will call the roll.
Bear, Bayer, Bach, Brackett, Buckner-Webb, Cameron, Davis, Durst, Fulcher, Getty, Guthrie, Hagedorn, Hyder, Hill, Johnson, Keogh, Lacey, Lakey, Lodge, Martin, McKenzie, Mortimer, Nonini, Nuxel, Patrick, Pierce, Rice, Schmidt, Sidaway, Stennett, Thane, Tippett, Fick, Work, Winder, Durst, Pierce?
Roll call shows 34 ayes, no nays, one absent excused, majority haven't voted in the affirmative. House Bill 319 is passed. Senate, other corrections. Title, hearing none, the title is approved. House Bill 319 will be returned to the House.
There is no further business in the 12th order, Mr. President. I mean, the 13th order.
13th order, yeah. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent, Senate return to the ninth order of business.
Without objection, the Senate return to the ninth order of business.
Mr.
Messages
President,
from the House.
I ask unanimous consent, Senate go to east, call the
Without
chair.
objection, Senator be at ease.
Mr. President,
Senator Hagedorn.
personal privilege. Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special person in the gallery. Although legally blind, she keeps our people in Eagle very excited about what's going on in town and all over the place. Miss Emma Waddell is here with us and wanted to watch the sine die. Please help me welcome her to the chamber.
I don't know. No, I haven't.
Welcome to Idaho in Session, Legislature Live, the Senate channel. Idaho in Session is sponsored by the Idaho State Broadcasters Association, the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation, Union Pacific Foundation, Idaho Association of Counties, Idaho Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Idaho Cities, and your contributions to the Idaho Public Television Endowment.
13.
Or 9.
Senate will come to order. Senate's the ninth order of business.
April 4th, 2013. Mr. President, I transmit herewith House Bill 345, which is passed the House. Alexander, Chief Clerk.
House Bill 345, or where are we, 9? Message from the governor. House Bill 345 for the 11th order of business for introduction.
Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to advance to the 11th order of business.
We're not quite done in the 9th order of business.
Well, then I'll be patient, Mr. President.
Would be good.
I thought you had hurried your way through this already.
April 4th, 2013. Mr. President, I return herewith Senate Concurrent Resolution 103, which is passed the House. Alexander, Chief Clerk.
It's already passed here. So goes J&R for enrolling. Senate Concurrent Resolution 103 will be referred to the Judiciary and Rules Committee for it.
Now there is no further business in the 9th order, Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
And thank goodness. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to advance to the 11th order of business.
Without objection, Senate advance the 11th order of business. Introduction, first reading of bills. Senate's at the 11th order of business. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that all bills on first reading be read by number, author, and title only, and the journal show they've been read at length.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
In the House of Representatives, House Bill Number 345 by Appropriations Committee, an act relating to appropriations and transfers of monies, appropriating and transferring excess fiscal year 2013 year-end monies from the general fund to the Budget Stabilization Fund.
House Bill 345 will be referred to the Finance Committee.
There is no further business in the 11th order, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to advance to the 12th order of business.
The Senate will advance the 12th order of business. Second reading of bills. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, is House Bill 345 in this order of business? Mr. President, then I ask unanimous consent that Senate advance to the 11th or 12th order of business. Are we in the 12th order of business? Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent Senate go at ease.
Without objection, Senator Meade.
6.
You were doing so good. No.
Uh-huh.
Okay. 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 We haven't gone to 6 yet. Okay. Senate will come to order. Senate's in the 12th order of business. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, Senators, I apologize. Managing something else, and I thought I clearly did it right in my mind, but I didn't do it on the outside. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent Senate return to the 6th order of business.
Without objection, the Senate return to the 6th order of business.
The Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that Senate Bill 1197 and Senate Bill 1199 have been correctly enrolled. Lodge Chairman.
President has signed Senate Bills 1197 and 1199. They will be transmitted to the House for signature of the Speaker.
April 4th, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that enrolled Senate concurrent resolutions 128, 129, and 131 were delivered to the Office of the Secretary of State at 9:56 a.m. April 4th, 2013.
The report will be filed in the Office of Secretary.
April 4th, 2013, the Judiciary and Rules Committee reports that enrolled Senate Bill 1189 and Senate Bill 1190 were delivered to the Office of the Governor at 9:55 a.m. April 4th, 2013. Lodge Chairman.
The report will be filed in the Office of Secretary.
April 4th, 2013, the Finance Committee reports out House Bill 345 and recommend that it do pass. Cameron, Chairman.
House Bill 345 will refer to the 12th order of business.
There is no further business in the 6th order, Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
With trepidation, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent, Senate advance to the 12th order of business.
Without objection, the Senate will advance to the 12th order of business. Senate's at the 12th order of business. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, is House Bill 345 in this order of business?
It is, Senator.
Mr. President, personal privilege.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, this is the last bill we need before we advance to the 15th and adjourn sine die. Mr. President, I move that all rules of the Senate interfering with the immediate consideration of Senate Bill 345 be suspended.
Senator Stinnett.
President, second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that all rules of the Senate interfering with immediate consideration of House Bill 345 be suspended. Secretary will call the roll.
Bear, Bayer, Bach, Brackett, Buckner-Webb, Cameron, Davis, Durst, Fulcher, Getty, Guthrie, Hagedorn, Hyder, Hill, Johnson, Keough, Lacey, Lakey, Lodge, Martin, McKenzie, Mortimer, Nonini, Nuxel, Patrick, Pierce, Rice, Schmidt, Sidaway, Stennett, Thane, Tippett, Vick, Work, Winder, Pierce.
Roll call shows 34 ayes, no nays, one absent excused, two-thirds having voted in the affirmative. All rules Senate dealing with immediate consideration of House Bill 345 have been suspended. Senate now has for final consideration House Bill 345. The Secretary will read the bill.
In the House of Representatives, House Bill Number 345 by Appropriations Committee, an act relating to appropriations and transfers of monies, appropriating and transferring.
President.
Senator Cameron.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to further reading of House Bill 345 be dispensed with. Journal show it's been read at length, section by section, and is now properly before the Senate.
Hearing no objection. Senator Cameron is recognized to open debate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, this bill is the year-end balancing bill for the fiscal year 2013. It is a bill that allows any unanticipated surpluses in excess of $20 million above our necessary transfers to be transferred to the Budget Stabilization Fund. If you're looking at the bill, you'll notice in the fiscal note, it says that any monies in excess of $79,952,900. The reason for that is our current estimation, we expect an ending balance of $59,952,900. In the gentleman on the second floor's initial recommendation, he had an ending balance of about $57 million. We will have a little bit better ending balance because we did not allocate all of that money. That money is necessary to transfer forward into fiscal year 2014. In addition, we need $20 million to be left on the general fund in the general fund account without being in the budget stabilization fund to cover costs such as fires, etc. Just for your information, the fiscal, as of February, our revenue is running about $19.5 million above expectation, or a 2.4% increase. For the month of April and June, we must meet at about 2.7% in order to hit the numbers as anticipated in this budget. With that, Mr. President, debate is open.
Further debate? Hearing no further debate, Senator Cameron is recognized to close debate.
Debate is closed.
Debate being closed, question is, shall House Bill 245 pass the Senate? Secretary will call the roll.
Bear, Bayer, Bach, Brackett, Buckner-Webb, Cameron, Davis, Durst, Fulcher, Getty, Guthrie, Hagedorn, Hyder, Hill, Johnson, Keough, Lacey, Lakey, Lodge, Martin, McKenzie, Mortimer, Nonini, Nuxel, Patrick, Pierce, Rice, Schmidt, Sidaway, Stennett, Thane, Tippett. Fick. Work. Winder. Durst. Hagedorn. Pierce.
Roll call shows 34 ayes, no nays, 1 absent, excused. Majority haven't voted in the affirmative. House Bill 345 has passed the Senate of their corrections title. Hearing none, title is approved, and House Bill 345 will be returned to the House.
Mr. President, ask
Senate-
unanimous consent, St. go at ease.
Without objection, Senate be at ease. Senate will come to order. Senate's in the 12th order of business.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent, send advance to the 15th order of business.
Without objection, Senate will advance 15th order of business, miscellaneous business and adjournment. Senate's at the 15th order of business. A motion is always in order. Senator Stinnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everybody for working with us, the minority. I think it's been a wonderful experience for me, my first time around in this position, and I hope I speak on the behalf of the rest of my caucus, but we appreciate the working relationship, and we wish you a wonderful rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator McKenzie.
Thank you. Before we continue, go on with more serious issues, I will give us a little report on this, our 123rd session. We match 2008 or 2005 and 2011 as the 7th longest session. Thank you for your contribution to that, Senators.
Further announcements. Senator Fulcher.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good Senators. I stand in to point out a personal situation that's transpiring with the good senator from 9. And I just got off the phone with him to make sure I had permission to share this. Some of you are probably aware, some may not be aware. But the reason from Senator 9 is not with us is he has been in Salt Lake City with his wife who is battling with a brain tumor. And he just gave me permission to share that, and also to let everyone know that next Thursday she'll be back in Salt Lake for surgery. They're optimistic about that, but they do request, and I would request, that you would keep them in your prayers and your thoughts and minds, and just pass along greetings and thank yous from the good senator from 9. So with that, I just wanted to share it with you, Mr. President, good senators. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Senator Winder,
Mr. President, on a little lighter note, if I might.
you have the floor,
Thank you, Mr. President.
but remember,
I know. I'll try and do this as delicately as possible.
You're not going to sing.
No, not right now. This is even going to be more fun than us singing. And I'm bowing down to you, Mr. President. My office sits right up here, and about 10 days ago, there was a virtual school tour being given right up here with the cameras there, and Senator from 33 sitting up there, and it's real close to my office. And I have this big gap under my door, so everything that goes on out here I hear. I don't know why it works, but it's almost like an amplifying system. And then when I saw, not totally with disgust, but some concern that he had convinced these fourth graders how abused he was, that he couldn't eat donuts on the floor of the Senate, that I thought it might be appropriate to kind of give him a boost and everyone a little bit of a sugar high as you leave today. But I stopped on my way in today and have 4 dozen donuts for the good senator, and hopefully that will satisfy his need for a donut today, and he'll have plenty to share with the rest of you. So with that, Senator Davis, thank you for a great year. Learned a lot this year. You're a great teacher, and I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with me, and I appreciate that very much. So thank you.
further announcements. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. We announced on the first day of the session this year that we were raising a flag over this chamber, and that it would fly over this particular chamber, an Idaho state flag to represent to anyone who passes by that the Senate is in session, that we are here doing the people's business. Some of them were happy about that. Some of them, I'm sure, were not happy about that. But we let them know we were here. Today, on the last day of the session, we retrieved that flag that's been flying up there during this sesquicentennial year. It's kind of a special flag. But it's my honor, in behalf of leadership, to present that flag to a senator. Sometimes it's a senator who's just had a great session. This time, it's to a senator who didn't have a bad session. I don't mean that, but senator that you got to look at cumulative, the service that has been provided for a long time. And it's an honor for me to present the flag to Senator Kurt McKenzie. He has been serving as our State Affairs Chairman for 9 years. He wasn't here very long when Pro Tem Geddes tapped his talents and asked him to serve as Chairman of State Affairs. Now, those of you who don't have the privilege of watching state affairs, they get some pretty tough subjects. We deal with alcohol, gambling, gay rights, gun rights, nullification, constitutional amendments, anything that anybody else doesn't want, we assign to state affairs. Senator McKenzie has protected this floor from some very difficult votes. On issues that maybe we agreed with, but the way the bills were written, the way it was put together, we have a great constitutionalist that helps us determine what's appropriate for this floor. And he's taken some heat from some of us, as well as from the public and from the press. I even haven't agreed with him on every position. But I always knew he had good reasons for his position. In addition to that, he's kind of helped with our transition, losing Senator Darrington, as he's kind of helped us keep our protocol appropriate within the Senate, make sure we're following the rules, and has become our statistician as well to give us all kinds of bits of trivia that are important probably only to this body. Everything he's done with courage, he's done it with dignity, he's done it with statesmanship, and he's done it for many years. And I don't have a flag yet because we moved on that last bill just a little fast, okay? But they are up there retrieving it now, and so instead of asking permission to come to the well of the Senate to present that, I will definitely make sure that he gets it. But would you please help me in honoring Senator Curtis McKenzie?
Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we close, on behalf of all of you, I want to express our thanks to all of those who helped us get through this, what I'd call a difficult session. We are grateful to the attachés. Obviously, we couldn't have done it without them. We just couldn't. And we appreciate their service, their dedication, staying late sometimes for late committee meetings, getting the minutes done. We don't have a problem keeping caught up this year. It's been a great time. And the pages, some of them have even stuck around after their assigned time to be with us right to the bitter end. We appreciate all of them that have served this year. Our Sergeant at Arms, Sarah Jane McDonald. Some of you don't know what a Sergeant at Arms does, but she does a lot. And we appreciate everything she does with Jerry there at her side, helping get us through the session. Our doorman, Al, he's made everyone feel welcome in this chamber. I have to thank our security as well. You know, Charlie came in my office yesterday, said that he wasn't going to be here for the last day, that he'd been given his new assignment for the interim, but he wanted to tell me how much he enjoyed working with this group here, how much he enjoyed being part of the process and feel like he was contributing in his way. And I know the other security people feel the same way. I always feel secure when I'm standing next to Charlie. You know? And he's always been a comfort. Our good chaplain, Pastor James Wibberding. Thank you for your inspiration, for calling upon God to help us, and for the great example that you have set. Sometimes just having you seated there, I think, helps us to be better and to do better. Thank you for your service this year. Of course, our Senate Secretary, she's just extraordinary. I mean, she's been helping out for quite a while, but she hasn't been actually doing this, taking the arrows directly very long. And she has learned her duty, and she has performed it so well. And I appreciate her, as well as her staff and others who have helped with that. I personally have to thank Mary Sue Jones. I'm often disappointed when I go out in the foyer and you're lined up not to see me, but to see her, you know. And I know she's nicer than I am, and she's prettier than I am, and there's a lot of reasons, and she's more helpful than I am. But I appreciate her efforts at trying to keep me out of trouble this year. Certainly not least, I want to express my thanks to you, my fellow colleagues, my fellow senators. I've been proud of you. This has been a really difficult session. I don't remember having any more divisive issues than what we had to deal with this year. You conducted yourselves with dignity, with civility, and I thank you for your service. And I hope that any negative feelings that have come through some hard debates and some hard issues, that those will continue to heal And we'll come back next year ready to fight some more hard, difficult issues, which we have some coming up next year. But probably most of all, even more than you, I have to express my appreciation to our families, our spouses, our children. They're the ones who are really making the sacrifices so that we can be here and contribute to the people of Idaho. They're the ones that are staying home, keeping things together, or even coming here and spending some long, lonely days without you. I'm grateful to them, and I know you are too. I'd just like to close, at least my part of this session, with sharing with you a quote. These verses reportedly were written on the wall of Mother Teresa's home for the children in Calcutta, India. As they're appropriate for children in India, they're also appropriate for senators in Idaho. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others can destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. But give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. May we live by these words and be inspired by these words as well as be inspired by one another as we continue through this summer and prepare for our next session. Thank you for the honor of serving with you.
Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the President appoint a committee to notify the Governor that the Senate has completed its business and is prepared and is about to adjourn sine die.
The President appoints Senator Sidaway as chairman to be accompanied by Senator Thane and Senator Lacey. The committee is excused.
Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the President appoint a committee to notify the body across the rotunda, the Idaho House of Representatives, that the Senate has completed its work and is about to and is prepared to adjourn sine die.
President appoints Senator Keogh as chairman, accompanied by Senators Baer and Senator Schmidt.
Mr.
Committee is
President.
excused. Senator Davis.
Mr. President, in the event that the body across the rotunda sends a committee to notify us that they are similarly finished and about to adjourn sine die, and in the event that we have not already adjourned sine die, I ask the President to appoint a committee to escort such committee into the Senate. Now I'll just put a period right there.
The President appoints Senator Baer as chairman and Senator Durst to accompany him to greet our friends from across the rotunda.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, we'll continue in the 15th order of business for such other announcements that may exist. We're looking forward, of course, to receiving those committee reports, and I know that each of you would like to join me with a sine die donut.
Senator Winder.
Thank you, Mr. President. If my singing mate would join me. It's been a tradition since I've been in the Senate to work up a little song to close the session with, and had a little extra help. Apparently, he didn't like my version of the song, so I've had a lot of help on this one. And hopefully, I tried to pick a real well-known kind of song that we could follow along pretty easily, and we would not sound as bad as we have in the past. But he also asked if we wanted to practice a little bit, and I said, no, we don't want to practice a little bit because we've not sounded very good in the past. So with that, this is our Sine Dice song.
From the halls of our great capital to the shores of each hometown, we have fought our state's battles on the floor and not laid down. We have fought for thought and principle, we have battled tyranny. We are proud to wear the title and fight for liberty. It's time to take our leave again and say goodbye to friends. We wish you all the best success and times to make amends.
Further announcements? I think it's time. Senator Cameron.
Mr. President, just I guess since we have a minute, I'll take a minute to also thank the JFAC staff who's worked tirelessly this year, as they always do, in providing us with the best information we can and helping us work through difficult budget situations. And I want to thank the members of the Joint Committee for their hard work in helping us come vote on good budgets. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Sidaway, welcome home. Senator Sidaway.
President, we went to the office of the governor. The governor is away, but we met with his staff today and reported that productive session.
Thank you, Senator. The committee is excused. Senators, I just briefly, if you spend any time paying attention to what happens in other states, one of the things that always marvels me about this body is what I see right here, and that's the attendance. Even going through some of those benign orders of business, I think it's important to the 1.5 million people of Idaho that their representatives are here and working early and working late. And I think to me, it's a testimony not only to the members of the Senate, but also to the people of Idaho that elect you and send you here. As a part-time legislative body, I think the founders of not only our country but of our state would be proud of the participation level. You know, what we've done to the Capitol to make it more accessible, what we've done with our friends through the media by making it more available. I'm always shocked when I go out in the country and somebody says they watch me on TV, and I always wondered if they have a life. But it does speak well. Our system only works with a high level of participation, and it really works well with a high level of participation if we represent all of Idaho. And so, from my standpoint, congratulations for a job well done. Because part of life is just showing up, and you're here all the time.
Well, Mr. President.
Senator Hill.
Mr. President, while we're waiting, I have the flag now.
Ah, excellent.
Would it be appropriate, may I ask permission that Senator McKenzie and I go to the well of the Senate?
It would be
and you don't need to clap again.
absolutely appropriate.
I mean, you got it once.
I would
It's okay.
never gavel down the chairman of the State Affairs Committee and the pro tem at one time, so.
Thank you very much.
But I would like to get. Further announcements? Senate will be at E, subject to call the chair.
Senators, we're going to start back up and finish up.
Senate will come to order. Senate's the 15th order of business.
Mr. President.
Senator Bear.
I have a limerick. It's entitled simply Davis.
It's in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Davis says we'll all go at ease. President, no, don't let him, please. I most strongly object. Might I explain the effect? At snail's pace would the Senate proceed.
No objections allowed. Oh, Senator. Thank you, Senator Keogh and your committee. The committee is excused. Further announcements. Senator Davis.
Well, Mr. President, since we have clearly drifted from the poignant remarks from our pro tem, I too have a limerick. It is not, however, a shot at Senator Bear. It is at someone else. But I'm going to follow it quickly with a motion to adjourn, and that'll be the end of this. Often the senator from one, demure, gracious, and fun, when debate turned malarkey, would transcend to sparky and leave all our backsides well done. Mr. President.
Senator Davis.
Mr. President, I move that the first regular session of the 62nd Idaho State Senate of the Idaho Legislature in the year of Idaho's territorial celebration adjourn sine die.
Senator Stennett.
Mr. President, I strongly second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the Senate adjourn sine die. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have it, and we are adjourned.
Welcome to Idaho in Session, Legislature Live. Idaho in Session is sponsored by the Idaho State Broadcasters Association, the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation, Union Pacific Foundation, Idaho Association of Counties, Idaho Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Idaho Cities, and your contributions to the Idaho Public Television Endowment. Welcome to Idaho in Session, Legislature Live. Idaho in Session is sponsored by the Idaho State Broadcasters Association, the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation, Union Pacific Foundation, Idaho Association of Counties, Idaho Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Idaho Cities, and your contributions to the Idaho Public Television Endowment. Welcome to Idaho in Session, Legislature Live. Idaho in Session is sponsored by the Idaho State Broadcasters Association, the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation, Union Pacific Foundation, Idaho Association of Counties, Idaho Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Idaho Cities, and your contributions to the Idaho Public Television Endowment. Idaho in Session, Legislature Live, the Senate Channel. Idaho in Session is sponsored by the Idaho State Broadcasters Association, the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation, Union Pacific Foundation, Idaho Association of Counties, Idaho Cable Telecommunications Association, Association of Idaho Cities, and your contributions to the Idaho Public Television Endowment.